everybody, welcome back for another sublimation tutorial. Are you guys wanting to go from this size printed image to this size printed image? Well, today we're going to go over how you can do that with using a standard Epson ET 2803. What you're going to do is go into your Inkscape here. If you don't have it already, again, it's just called Inkscape here. The little icon there. It's a free download and you can use it. It works really well and I use it for most of my projects. So you're gonna go upload your image, and this little box here is basically your paper. It is sized for an 8.5 by an 11 size piece of paper. That is normal standard paper that prints out. What you're going to do is pretend that little box is your paper and how your image is going to set on that. So what we're going to do, you're going to size it and make sure it fills that box, your piece of paper basically. And you're actually going to only have a portion of your image on that paper. So it's going to look like this. When your image is not all the way in this box, so say a normal image that is fine to be used is sized and fits in this box, you're only going to need one sheet of paper. However, today that's not the case. We're using a larger image. So again, you're going to make it as big as you want, but it is going to be hanging out here. So when you print, half your image will get cut off, but that's the point of having it out there. And I will show you here how we're going to go about to make an image that connects. So with that, you'll go from here. Once you have your image set, again, have most of it in the first print, just like that. You'll go up, you'll do your print right here and print it as you need it. From there, once that's printing, it usually takes a little bit of time as long as you're doing it right. It should take a little bit of time to print out. So you can be getting your other part of your image ready. You're going to go over here and create just a square, a rectangle. It doesn't have to be perfect or fancy. You will take that and change it to white because that's what's going to blend or cover up part of your image. And you want to make sure it's going to cover up a good portion of it. And I will explain why here in just a moment. So you'll do that. And just offset your image there. All right, so from here, you're gonna wanna go and click on your actual image. Don't move it, just click on it. You're gonna go up here to your y-axis, highlight it and copy it. And this is a really important step. I'm gonna show you that also here, why that's so important in just a moment. But first, you're gonna take your rectangle that you just made, make it a little larger because it does have to cover up a good portion of your image, and just overlap your image to where there's about this much of that paper box that's not being covered, because you will want a little bit of an overlap of your image once it's printed out, and we'll go over that reasoning in a later step here shortly. So with that, now you're going to highlight both of those images and drag them over. So you're going to see your whole box of paper there, but you're going to want to scoot back until you have that edge just barely covered. Just like that. And so now you're going to click on your image, and that y-axis that I just had you copy, you're going to want to put that back up there so that your image is lined up properly in the same place that your other image was just printed out, so that when you line them up after they're printed, they line up perfectly for you. And then you'll go from there and you'll again just go to your print and get it printed. And that's really all you need to do at this step. If you do have a larger image, say it's like really large, there are going to be additional steps where you'll have to do about 3 or 4 pages with the same technique. But since we're not doing that today, we're only going to do 2 sheets of paper and go from there. So we'll move along and go to the next step, and I'll show you what these look like when they're printed out for you. All right, so now that we have our image cut out, this is what it should look like. You're gonna have parts of your images on different pages, but it's gonna be a larger format versus what you would print on one 8.5 by 11 page. So you can clearly see the difference in size there. What you'll need is some kind of ruler and a cutting tool, or if you want to use a Gilligan blade or a Cricut blade, whatever works best for you. I just like to use my standard ruler and cutting tool though. What you're going to do is cut on one sheet the white edge off. I like to do the one that has the most colored lines. It's just easier to line up that way. You're gonna cover up all the way to the end of the color so that you're just cutting off the white edge and not the actual image itself. So you'll do that. Make sure your paper's down all the way so you're not moving it. And we'll cut it off. Like so. And you'll see it's just that lined image there now. And from here, you're gonna go over and overlap your image to where it's gonna line up as if it was one image, which can take a little bit of time. So take your time doing this, so that way when you do go press, your lines aren't all off and it looks weird. For time's sake though, I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it here. And that looks pretty good right there. So from here, you can either tape your edge down, not all the way to the edge because you're gonna make a little mark there. I'll show you here just for reference. Just a little tape there. Don't wanna put it on your image because you'll tear it off. But if you have enough room here, just tape right above the edge there. I'm not gonna do that part. I'm just gonna go ahead and mark. So you're gonna make a little dash right where the top page meets up or lays across on the bottom page. So just like that. And then on the bottom as well, you'll do one there as well. So you can take that out and you can see how much overlap there was. You're actually gonna cut that side off. For this part, I do like to use my Cricut blade because it lines up really well. So now you have two pages that look like this, and when they line up, they should be, again, back to, if I can grab it, all right, so now you're gonna take little pieces and you're gonna tape only the white border, just a tiny little piece there, just to keep them together, because you are gonna flip the page on its front. So you're gonna flip it over. And this just keeps it in place. Okay, flip your image over. So you're gonna be taping your seam, your lines down, and you're gonna wanna use heat resistant tape, because that's what you're gonna use when you do your press. And you just wanna tape all the way down, making sure that it's still nice and flat as it's being taped. Okay. And now you're gonna have an image that looks like this. And that's how you'll press it. I'm gonna go ahead and cut mine out because I actually don't want the wording here. You can either cut it or tear the edges along. All right, so there you have it, a cut out image that is gonna be larger for you. So you're gonna have a larger image printed out that can cover a larger surface for you instead of just that. All right, so now we're gonna take our large image and sublimate it onto our t-shirt or whatever item you're using. I am gonna use my little Cricut heat press. Yes, it is just a small one, but it does work. I just have to do it in sections. Someday I'll eventually invest into a larger one, but for now this works. So we'll go ahead and move forward with that. We are set at 400 degrees for 60 seconds. So just depending on how many sections you have to do, or if you have a big one, that works even better. You'll flip your image and use your heat resistant tape to tape your image down. That way it prevents it from moving. I usually just do a few just in the corner areas, like so. You'll take your parchment paper, lay it on over your image, make sure it's flat, and then go ahead and start pressing. All right, so we'll take our heat press off. It is really hot at this point, so just be careful. You can see that the image is much more faded through the back of it now, which is a good thing. So as you're peeling it off, just be very gentle that you don't burn yourself. All right, so there you go. You have an image that I believe it was about 13 by 13, give or take a few centimeters either way. But it is a larger image that was printed with the Epson 2803 is what I have, just with the standard 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper. You can almost print any size that you want for any design. Just make sure you're lining up and taking your time. That way you get a very good product in the end. If this video helped you, go ahead and boop that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share for others so they can get help as well. Have a wonderful day and happy crafting.